Hello everyone, Dark Mecha here with a update on my Unity game project, the Tactical Space Combat Simulator with no name yet. Alright, so the first thing is that I have finished the basic user interface. We have everything we need to interact with the game on a basic level. There's more to come probably, but for now, this is all we need. Alright, so the biggest thing is you can now select targets by clicking on the ship directly, clicking on the relative target indicator, or cycling through enemy targets with the Q and W keys, either forward or backward. So the biggest thing for these relative target indicators, or just target indicator arrows, or whatever you want to call them, is that you can see where enemies are off screen and easily select them however you want. You won't really be able to tell which one they are until you have it targeted this way, but that's not a big deal, I don't think, because in the target info it'll show like the ship's name and what type it is and all that. I haven't done that yet, but right now it just shows the range number. Alright, so the other big deal with all that is the defense and target defense panels, which show the defensive status of each vessel. And how this works is that each ship has a shield and then 4 sections of their hull, represented by 4 aft, port, and starboard sections. Alright, the shield is omnidirectional. It doesn't matter where you hit it from. It subtracts from this all from that one shield until it goes down. And you can't damage the ship until that shield is depleted and knocked down. It does come back rather quickly, but it's kind of weak. After that, the next layer of defense is the deflector shields around each individual section. The deflector shields are twice as durable as the shield, so each individual section is pretty tough that way, but they charge at a much slower rate, and the power going to them is distributed 4 ways, depending on, or up to 4 ways, depending on how many are damaged. So if all 4 are damaged and are not at max charge, it charges 4 times slower individually. If only 1 is damaged or 2 are damaged, you know, the rate changes based on how many it is. So it divides the power going to them out appropriately. Another thing about the shield system is that the main shield requires a maintenance power of 25% of reactor's power output. And the reason these numbers are 25 is that the frigate just happens to get 100, but these numbers wouldn't always be 100. So anyways, the defense setting here is 25, which means it's getting the power it needs exactly to produce 100% shield regularly. If it's underneath that, it will actually start to decay. Like if I set this to 0, you can actually watch the shield getting dimmer and will drop. Basically, the health of these is represented by the alpha opacity of whatever part it is. So. Alright, so you can see it going down. We don't need to wait for it. If I jack it all the way up to 75% or above, it will not only charge faster, but it will also start to overcharge the shield, and the shield can get up to twice the strength normal, and this is represented by making the shield have a white shield overlaid on top of the regular shield. And this has to be depleted before the regular shield will take damage. It's still the same physical shield around the ship in terms of the hitbox, but the hit points are added on top of it. Alright, so after you've depleted the enemy's shield and the deflector shield around a section, then you have to get through the armor, which is represented by this white layer here. After that, there's the hull of the section itself, which is represented by the filled-in color area for each one. And in order to destroy a ship, you must deplete the hull completely. In other words, destroy a section of each ship. You have to destroy at least 3 sections, because you can't fly 1/4 of a ship, because that would be crazy. After that, the ship will probably explode or at least drift around, basically useless, and will be considered destroyed. If a whole section is destroyed, then any components that are in that section, in terms of like turrets or special parts or engines even, are also destroyed or at least heavily disabled. The idea is that that section of the ship is now essentially uninhabited. It's so full of holes and that it just doesn't really function anymore. Even if it's physically present on the ship, it's not actually going to get blown off, but Hopefully I will be able to change the art to reflect the damage of each individual section, which would be really cool, but we'll see how much time allows. Anyways, the camera has been changed a little bit too. You can now zoom in all the way and look at the nice pretty artwork that I've done. Hope you like it. As well as there is a new camera mode that centers the camera between your ship and the target ship. I'm going to get a little further away from the enemy ship here, and we can see this in action. It also automatically zooms out as appropriate to keep both ships on screen and at the appropriate, kind of distance from each other to visually see it. Your movement in this is also a little different than in the centered mode. It's this is a very tactically oriented mode, I feel, and so instead of your ship turning towards the heading indicator and then straightening out, it continues to turn, and this sort of sets the turn magnitude, like how hard it's turning instead of, or how fast it's turning, as you could say. A fast turn, it's a hard turn, whatever. Anyways, and the usefulness of that is that since this isn't centered on the ship, it allows you to kind of plot long course turns to help you make sure you keep your turrets in arc wherever you want them to be. So that's extremely useful, I think, and this is a great tactical mode. And if you get too far away, outside the engagement envelope of roughly 90 kilometers, up to it's about 100 kilometers, but the extra 10 on 90 is kind of like a soft extra thing. The camera really only wants you to be 90 or under, and so do I for the game purposes. I feel like this is plenty far away. See there, it just clicked over to the self camera because you went too far. Anyways, this is the reason the engagement envelope is basically within 100 kilometers is because both the issue of the camera. I don't want the game to have too much beyond visual range combat where you're just shooting at, like, the direction of an icon or whatever and watching your target defense display. But also, it just works for gameplay. I feel like this is pretty far. I mean, like, even railgun shots moving quite fast take a little while to get there. You'll see when I orbit back out here a little bit. And again, the camera limitations. Everything gets way too small past a certain point. There's not much I can do about that just because of the nature of it being a two-dimensional top-down game. Alright, so we're at about 80 kilometers. Let me go ahead and fire off some railgun shots. You can see that this just takes a while to get there, So I feel that that's okay, though. I mean, that's what we want with long range, but it's long enough. These slower burst mode railgun shots, they don't have as much power behind them. They take quite a while to get there. So anything that isn't like instant, like a laser, and see, the laser's range is 60. It can't reach there. It actually can't even reach the target, or even if you did, you'd be like tickling them because the laser actually decreases linearly in damage after 5 kilometers, out to 0. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for all of the user interface additions. Only other thing I didn't mention is that I have redone the fire control groups down here. They now indicate with the little green dot over the size icon whether or not the turret's in arc. You can hide or show the fire group settings for each one. They still work the way they did, as I explained in the previous videos. It's just that the fire control section here now takes up way less room, and it can accommodate up to 12 different individual weapon systems, which is going to be the limit for weapons on my ships in the game. I don't feel that there's any real need to put 50 or some crap that you have to control. And if I really want to have multiple weapon systems, I could make up some sort of weapon clustering setup. So, but I believe 12 will be enough. But anyways, now that this is done, I'll be moving on to finish up the rest of the weapons systems code, and then after that onto the AI and making this into an actual game instead of us just shooting at targets. But it was essential to get all of the main systems working and all of the user interface set up so that you can actually play it and then I can actually test it against the AI. So anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this look at my tactical space combat simulation game, and hopefully it'll be launching on the Steam Early Access sometime early next year. Once I get the AI going, you'll see a video for that for sure. Alright, thanks. Have a good day.